Gotta go. It's been fun though, right? Well, maybe a smidge more fun for me than you. I'm just guessing since you're being awful quiet. Anyway, be a good boy, finish your homework, and be in bed by 9. And hey, please tell the big man I said hello. No. Jason.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another video here on the SSA Philosophy channel, where we dive into the philosophy of our characters, from video games, TV shows, to movies, etc., etc. In today's video, we're going to be going over the philosophy of the character known as Red Hood. So as always, let's not waste any time. Let us get started. In the vast, complex world of Gotham City, characters grapple with themes of justice, morality, vengeance, and redemption. Among the dark heroes and villains that populated streets, one figure stands as both a paradox and an enigma: the Red Hood, brought to life in Batman Under the Red Hood. The Red Hood is an alter ego adopted by Jason Todd, the former Robin who was brutally murdered by the Joker, only to be resurrected and transformed by his suffering. His philosophy is one born of trauma, anger, and a disillusionment with the boundaries of morality that his mentor Batman upholds. The Red Hood's approach to justice, survival, and redemption challenges both hero and villain alike, forcing them to confront the limitations of their own codes and beliefs. Unlike Batman, who views violence as a necessary yet regrettable tool in maintaining order, the Red Hood embraces violence as an integral part of justice. Yet his actions are not simply reckless. They are methodical, strategic, and come with their own twisted sense of purpose. The Red Hood's philosophy can be dissected across multiple dimensions: justice through control, moral absolutism versus moral pragmatism, the role of fear as a tool of order, the psychological impact of trauma, and ultimately, the pursuit of redemption. In examining these facets of the Red Hood's character, we gain insight into a deeply troubled yet highly principled individual whose motivations echo the real world complexities of justice and vengeance.
Party is this? I thought it was you East Side losers. You already rode over for the Black Mask, and I figured that you were gonna ask us in.
Roll over. The mask whacked 6 of my crew in a month. 6! Some of my best people.
So you set up this meet?
Nah, I thought it was Chichi.
Wasn't my meat.
How the hell with this? I'm going.
Sit down, Freddy. It's my meeting.
We didn't do nothing.
Well, we all know that's a lie.
Who the hell are you?
Smoke him!
I said sit down.
You wanna die? There's easier ways to kill yourself.
Yeah, like yelling at the guy who's holding the AK-47. Listen to me, you drug-peddling scumbags. I will be running the drug trade from now on. You 8 are the most prosperous street dealers in Gotham. I'm offering you morons a deal. You go about your business as usual, but kick up 40% to me. That's a much sweeter deal than the scraps Black Mask is leaving you. In return, you will have total protection from both Black Mask and Batman. But you stay away from kids in schoolyards. No dealing to children, got it? If you do, you're dead.
Damn.
Those are the heads of all your lieutenants. That took me 2 hours. You want to see what I can get done in a whole evening?
The Red Hood's view of justice is grounded in control, a desire to impose his own order on Gotham's chaotic criminal underworld. Having seen the limitations of Batman's no-kill policy, the Red Hood rejects this philosophy, believing that true justice requires a firmer hand. To him, the only way to prevent recurring crime is to establish absolute control over Gotham's criminal syndicates, taking on the role of a dark overseer who does what Batman will not. This view of justice is a stark departure from Batman's approach, which prioritizes the preservation of life, even if it means that certain villains return to wreak havoc time and time again. For the Red Hood, however, control is synonymous with safety at any price. Whether it be ethical compromises or moral dilemmas, it's worth paying to achieve a safer Gotham. The concept of justice through control is a complex and often contentious one, rooted in the tension between individual liberty and societal order. It explores the idea that justice can be achieved by exerting control over individuals and institutions, often through legal, social, or political means. This approach has been employed throughout history by various governments and societies, with varying degrees of success and ethical implication. In the modern era, the concept of justice through control has taken on new forms, particularly with the rise of surveillance technologies and data-driven governance. Governments and corporations increasingly collect and analyze vast amounts of personal data, raising concerns about privacy, surveillance, and the potential for abuse of power. Some argue that surveillance can be a valuable tool for law enforcement and national security, helping to prevent crime and terrorism. However, critics contend that it can also lead to erosion of civil liberties and a culture of fear and suspicion. The balance between security and freedom is a perennial challenge in democratic society. The pursuit of justice through control raises important ethical questions. While it may be necessary to impose certain restrictions on individual behavior to protect society, it's also crucial to ensure that these restrictions are proportionate and do not infringe on fundamental human rights. Furthermore, the effectiveness of control as a means of achieving justice is often limited. While it may be possible to suppress dissent or enforce conformity, it is difficult to change people's hearts and minds. True justice requires not only external control, but also internal transformation.
A taser? Nail me and you'll electrocute both of us.
Maybe that's what he has in mind.
Joe!
Just be happy I only killed one of them. They're all assassins.
And what are you?
I'm cleaning up Gotham more than you ever did.
You're stealing territory from Black Mask and killing anyone who gets in your way. You're becoming a crime lord.
Yes, you can't stop crime. That's what you never understood. I'm controlling it. You want to rule them by fear. But what do you do with the ones who aren't afraid? I'm doing what you won't. I'm taking them out.
Tell me what happened to you. Let me help.
It's too late. You had your chance.
The Red Hood's philosophy raises the question of moral absolutism versus pragmatism. Unlike Batman, who adheres to an absolute code against killing, the Red Hood adopts a more pragmatic approach, seeing the world in shades of gray rather than black and white. His pragmatism is fueled by the belief that Gotham's worst criminals are irredeemable, and that sparing their lives only endangers innocent people. This philosophy is personal for him, as it stems from his traumatic experience and the deep resentment he feels towards the Joker, whose life Batman preserved despite his atrocities. By breaking Batman's moral code, the Red Hood forces Batman, and by extension the audience, to question the ethics of unwavering moral absolutism, challenging the notion that every life is equally valuable in the face of undeniable evil. Moral absolutism posits that there exist absolute moral principles that are universally valid, regardless of cultural, historical, or situational context. These principles are often considered to be divinely ordained or inherent in the nature of reality. Adherents to this view believe that certain actions are inherently right or wrong, and that these moral truths are objective and unchanging. Key characteristics of moral absolutism are objective morality, universal principles, black and white morality, divine command theory, and rational intuitionism. Objective morality. Moral truths exist independently of human opinion or cultural norms. Universal principles. Moral principles apply to all people, at all times, and all places. Black and white morality. Actions are either morally right or morally wrong, with no gray areas. Divine command theory. Moral principles are derived from a divine source, such as God. Rational intuitionism. Moral truths are self-evident and can be known through reason alone. Philosophical examples. You have Immanuel Kant and Plato. Kant's categorical imperative, which states that one should act only according to that maxim whereby you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law. Plato's theory of the forms, which posit that abstract moral concepts such as justice and goodness exist independently of the physical world. Moral pragmatism, on the other hand, is a more flexible approach to morality that emphasizes the practical consequences of actions. Pragmatists argue that moral principles are not absolute, but rather are tools that can be used to solve problems and achieve desired outcomes. They believe that the best course of action is the one that maximizes good consequences and minimizes bad ones. Key characteristics of moral pragmatism are contextual morality, consequentialism, flexibility, experimentation, and pragmatic approach. Contextual morality. Moral principles are relative to specific situations and cultural contexts. Consequentialism. The morality of an action is determined by its consequences. Flexibility. Moral principles can be adapted to fit changing circumstances. Experimentation. Moral truths are discovered through trial and error. Pragmatic approach. The most practical course of action is the most morally sound. Philosophical examples are John Dewey and William James. Dewey's pragmatic philosophy emphasizes the importance of experience and experimentation in shaping moral beliefs, while William James's pragmatic theory of truth asserts that the truth of a belief is determined by its practical consequences. So this debate between absolutism versus pragmatism raises fundamental questions about the nature of morality and the basis for ethical decision making. Absolutists argue that pragmatic approaches can lead to moral relativism and a loss of objective moral standards. Pragmatists, on the other hand, contend that absolutist principles can be rigid and inflexible, leading to unintended negative consequences. Ultimately, the choice between moral absolutism and moral pragmatism is a matter of personal belief and philosophical conviction. Both perspectives offer valuable insights into the complexities of morality and the challenges of ethical decision making. By understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each approach, individuals can develop a more nuanced and informed understanding of their own moral values.
Telling me that scumbag stole my guns? Again?
No, sir. He destroyed them. Blew up the truck, the drivers.
Damn it. Of all the... Damn it!
Previously, he was just enlisting anyone under our province to come work for him. Now, he just seems to be killing them.
You wanna tell me why this guy ain't dead? Or, guess they're gonna need a new name. Why hasn't Batman wiped this little smear off the face of the planet? What do you think this is? A tennis tournament?
I'm just saying.
You're an idiot, and you don't know Batman. He's not letting this lunatic just run wild. He can't catch him either. Or it's something else. Oh, hell.
Sir! Wow, he sure can move when he really wants to.
For the Red Hood, fear is not just a consequence of his actions, but a deliberate tool used to maintain order. Unlike Batman, who tries to inspire fear in criminals while instilling hope in civilians, the Red Hood believes that fear should permeate all aspects of his interactions with Gotham's criminal elements. By instilling terror, he ensures compliance and discourages retaliation, creating a violent yet stable environment within the criminal underworld. The Red Hood's approach to fear illustrates his belief in a Machiavellian philosophy, where the ends justify the means, and where a ruler's success is measured by their ability to control those around them. Through these lenses, fear becomes a weapon in his arsenal, a means to solidify his power and keep Gotham's criminals in line without relying on Batman's methods of idealistic restraint. At its core, fear is a survival mechanism that alerts us to potential threats. When harnessed and manipulated, it can be a powerful motivator. Fear triggers a physiological response, including heightened alertness, increased heart rate, and muscle tension. This heightened state of arousal can be exploited to induce compliance and obedience. Throughout history, religious institutions have employed fear to maintain their authority. The threat of eternal damnation, divine retribution, and supernatural punishment has been used to instill obedience and conformity. Authoritarian regimes frequently rely on fear to consolidate power, creating a climate of fear, often through surveillance, censorship, and the threat of violence, can stifle dissent and maintain social control. Fear of social ostracism and rejection can compel individuals to conform to societal norms and expectations. This fear can be used to enforce traditional values, gender roles, and cultural practices. In contemporary society, fear continues to be a potent tool, albeit in more subtle forms. Now, the media can exploit fear to shape public opinion and influence political outcomes. Sensationalized news stories, fear mongering, and the creation of moral panics can generate fear and anxiety. Economic uncertainty and the threat of financial ruin can be used to manipulate behavior and suppress dissent. Fear of job loss, poverty, and homelessness can lead to acceptance of exploitative working conditions and reduced social welfare programs. Technological advancements have enabled unprecedented levels of surveillance, raising concerns about privacy and government overreach. The fear of being monitored and controlled can have a chilling effect on free expression and dissent. The use of fear as a tool of order raises significant ethical questions. While it may be effective in the short term, if it can have a long lasting, it can have long lasting negative consequences, including erosion of trust. The constant manipulation of fear can erode trust in institutions, leaders, and social systems. Psychological harm. Fear can lead to anxiety, depression, and other mental health problems. Suppression of dissent. Fear can stifle critical thinking, creativity, and innovation. Authoritarian tendencies. The use of fear to maintain order can pave the way for authoritarian regimes and the erosion of democratic values. It's imperative to recognize the dangers of fear based control and to promote critical thinking, empathy, and open dialogue. By understanding the mechanisms of fear and its potential for misuse, we can challenge its power and work towards a more just and equitable society.
Hey, look at you, Mr. Hood. Or do you prefer red?
You know, I used to wear an outfit a lot like that. Mine was more flashy maitre d' than motorcycle fetish. You kids today. I'm sorry, could you hold on? I was just in the middle of setting fire to your gang.
Go ahead. You think I care if that scum dies?
Don't know. I just wanted your attention.
You've always had my attention, but what I really wanted was an audience with you.
I'm sorry, that seems to imply that you organized this little clam bake.
I did. Sure, I had lots of plans, but the end game was getting Black Mask so desperate that he'd cut a deal. He was the only one with the connections to get into Arkham and get you out.
So, I've been bamboozled. Oh my.
I wouldn't undersell it. It took a lot of work to bring about our reunion.
Reunion? Have we met before?
Yes, we have.
Despite his brutal methods, the Red Hood's actions can also be viewed as a twisted pursuit of redemption. His desire to cleanse Gotham of its worst elements, is in many ways a reflection of his own yearning for purpose and validation. By taking on the mantle of the Red Hood, he not only seeks to leave a mark on Gotham, but also to reconcile his own inner conflict between his loyalty to Batman's ideals and his resentment toward them. The Red Hood's pursuit of redemption is a journey marked by contradictions, as he both honors and defies Batman's teachings. In the end, his struggle for redemption is as much about finding peace within himself as it is about making Gotham a better place. It is this internal conflict that makes the Red Hood a tragic character, one who is constantly at odds with his past and his present, seeking forgiveness in a world that has offered him nothing but pain. The concept of redemption, the act of saving or being saved from sin, error, or evil, has been a central theme in human thought and spirituality for millennia. It has been explored in various philosophical, religious, and literary contexts, often intertwined with concepts of forgiveness, atonement, and salvation. While religious traditions often provide narratives of redemption, specific narratives, such as the Christian concept of salvation through Christ, philosophers have approached the idea from diverse angles, existentialist perspectives. So, Kierkegaard, so for him, redemption is an intensely personal and subjective experience. It involves a leap of faith, a radical decision to embrace one's own existence and become authentically oneself. Nietzsche, on the other hand, is critical of traditional notions of redemption. He argues that concept of original sin and the need for redemption are harmful illusions that limit human potential. Instead, he proposes a form of self-overcoming where individuals can transcend their limitations and create their own values. Postmodern perspectives. Derrida. Postmodern thinkers like Derrida challenge the very notion of a fixed and stable identity, suggesting that the self is constantly in a state of becoming. In this context, redemption might be seen as a continuous process of deconstruction and reconstruction of the self. Foucault. Foucault's work on power and discourse suggests that redemption might involve challenging oppressive power structures and liberating oneself from dominant narratives. Eastern philosophical perspectives. Buddhism. So, in Buddhism, the concept of karma and reincarnation is central to the idea of redemption. Through ethical living, meditation, and spiritual practices, individuals can purify their karma and achieve liberation from suffering. Taoism. Taoist philosophy emphasizes harmony with the natural order. Redemption, in a Taoist sense, might involve aligning oneself with the Tao, the ultimate principle of the universe. The psychological dimension of redemption. Psychologists have explored the concept of redemption, particularly in the context of trauma and suffering. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, argued that finding meaning in suffering can be a powerful form of redemption. By discovering a purpose greater than oneself, individuals can transcend their pain and find hope. Carl Jung. Jung's concept of individuation involves a process of self-discovery and integration of the unconscious. This process can be seen as a form of personal redemption as individuals confront their shadow selves and strive for wholeness. The role of art and literature in exploring redemption. Art and literature have often been powerful tools for exploring the theme of redemption. Tragedy. In tragic literature, characters often undergo suffering and loss, but through their experiences, they can achieve a form of redemption, such as a deeper understanding of themselves or the human condition. Myth and religion. Myths and religious texts often provide narratives of redemption, such as the hero's journey or the savior's sacrifice.
Leaving me. But why? Why on God's earth is he still alive?
Gotta give the boy points. He came all the way back from the dead to make this shindig happen. So, who's got a camera? Ooh, get one of me and the kid first. Then you and me, then the three of us, and then one with the crowbar. Then...
You be as quiet as possible, or I'll put one in your lap first.
Party pooper. No cake for you.
Ignoring what he's done in the past, blindly, stupidly disregarding the entire graveyards he's filled, the thousands who have suffered, the friends he's crippled. You know, I thought I'd be the last person you'd ever let him hurt. If it had been you that he'd beat to a bloody pulp, if he had taken you from this world, I would have done nothing but search the planet for this pathetic pile of evil death-worshipping garbage and send him off to hell.
You don't understand. I don't think you've ever understood.
What, your moral code just won't allow for that? It's too hard to cross that line?
No! God almighty! No, it'd be too damned easy. All I've ever wanted to do is kill him. A day doesn't go by when I don't think about subjecting him to every horrendous torture he's dealt out to others, and then end him. But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
Why? I'm not talking about killing Penguin or Scarecrow or Dent. I'm talking about him. Just him. And doing it because he took me away from you.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Well, you won't have a choice.
I won't.
This is what it's all been about. This. You and me and him. Now is the time you decide. If you won't kill this psychotic piece of filth, I will. If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to kill me.
You know I won't.
I'm gonna blow his deranged brains out. And if you want to stop it, you're gonna have to shoot me. Right in my face! It's him or me! You have to decide! Decide now! Do it! Him or me! Decide!
I can't believe you got him! You expert, rootin', tootin', eagle-eyed, goth-loving marksman. I love it. You managed to find a way to win. And everybody still loses!
Perhaps one of the most defining aspects of the Red Hood's philosophy is the role of trauma in shaping his worldview. As someone who endured death and resurrection, Jason Todd's experiences have altered his perception of justice and morality. He bears the scars of his past, not just physically, but emotionally, viewing his return to Gotham as a chance to correct what he perceives as Batman's failures. The trauma he suffered at the hands of the Joker and his subsequent disillusionment with Batman's methods have instilled him a sense of isolation and anger. This emotional turmoil is both a strength and a weakness, fueling his passion for justice, but also clouding his judgment, leading him down a path where violence and vengeance become indistinguishable. Through the Red Hood, we see a character whose philosophy is inextricably linked to his past, raising questions about the nature of justice when it is rooted in pain. Trauma is not solely defined by the severity of an event, but rather by its subjective impact on an individual. A traumatic event can be a single, sudden occurrence, such as a car crash or a natural disaster, or it can be a series of ongoing events such as chronic abuse or neglect. When a person experiences trauma, their brain stress response system is activated. The system designed to protect us from danger releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which prepare the body for a fight or flight response. However, when trauma is prolonged or overwhelming, the system can be dysregulated, leading to a host of psychological problems. So one can be post-traumatic stress disorder. So post-traumatic stress disorder can include intrusive thoughts, which are recurring, unwanted thoughts or memories of the traumatic event. Avoidance, efforts to avoid thoughts, feelings, or situations associated with the trauma. Hyperarousal, increased alertness, irritability, difficulty concentrating, and sleep disturbances. Negative altercations in mood and cognition, feelings of detachment, shame, guilt, and a diminished capacity to experience positive emotions. Another can be complex post traumatic stress disorder, and this often results from prolonged or repeated trauma, particularly in childhood, characterized by difficulties in self regulation, interpersonal relationships, and a distorted sense of self. Depression and anxiety. Trauma can increase the risk of developing depression and anxiety disorders, as well as other mood disorders. Dissociation, a defense mechanism where a person mentally distances themselves from a traumatic experience. This can manifest as feelings of detachment, numbness, or sense of unreality. Substance abuse. Substance abuse can be a way to cope with the emotional pain of trauma. Physical health problems. Trauma can lead to a variety of physical health problems such as chronic pain, gastrointestinal issues, and heart disease. The impact of trauma on the brain. So, neuroimaging studies have shown that trauma can alter the structure and function of the brain. For example, the hip, uh, the hip, the hippocampus. My apologies for pronouncing it incorrectly. But this is a brain region, involved in memory and learning. May shrink in size, leading to difficulties in memory and concentration. The amygdala, amygdala, a brain region involved in emotional processing, may become overreactive or overactive, leading to heightened fear and anxiety. While the effects of trauma can be severe and long lasting, healing is possible. Effective treatments for trauma include psychotherapy, therapy such as cognitive behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing. And psychodynamic therapy can help individuals process their trauma and develop healthy coping mechanisms. Medication can be antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications can be helpful as well in managing symptoms of trauma. And support groups is also another good thing as well too, which is connecting with other people who have experienced trauma. This can provide validation, understanding, and support.
I had to take him down.
You shattered his collarbone!
He's a drug-dealing pimp. I didn't think I had to prop up some pillows before I took him out.
We needed him. He would have talked. But you put him into shock.
Sorry, that was dumb. But he deserved it.
Prior to his arrest, Black Mask was being strong-armed by the mysterious Red Hood.
Sir, in light of all the recent events, would you like me to remove that?
No. This doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything at all.
Okay, let's go. If you can't suit up quickly at home base, I'm concerned how you would handle it in the field.
Perhaps he's primping. As I recall, Master Richard spent nearly half an hour admiring his reflection the first time he donned his cape.
Jason, get on out here or I'm going on patrol without you.
Gotcha!
Would've, if I hadn't seen you slip behind the computer banks 3 minutes ago.
Nah, I got you.
How does it feel?
It feels awesome! Check me out! I'm Robin, the boy wonder! Are you kidding me? This rocks! Come on, old man. We've got bad guys who need chasing. This is the best day of my life.
The Red Hood is a study in moral ambiguity, a character who occupies a space between hero and anti-hero, embodying both the virtues and vices of Gotham's grim reality. His philosophy of justice, rooted in control, pragmatism, fear, trauma, and redemption, speaks to the complexities of moral decision making in a world where simple solutions rarely suffice. The Red Hood challenges us to question the boundaries of justice and the ethical dilemmas faced by those who seek to protect others. Is he a hero corrupted by his suffering, or a villain with noble intentions? In many ways, the Red Hood's character is a reflection of society's own struggle with justice and morality. He represents the darker side of heroism, the side that's willing to cross lines in the pursuit of safety and order. Through his journey, we are reminded that the path to justice is rarely straightforward, and that even the best intentions can lead one down a path of darkness. Ultimately, the Red Hood's legacy is one of a fallen hero, a character who sought to change the world but found himself changed by it, forever caught between the ideals of his mentor and the harsh reality of the world he inhabits. In the end, the Red Hood stands as both a cautionary tale and a testament to the enduring human desire for justice, no matter the cost. That is all, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, if you want to see more videos on the channel, subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell to be notified of every video that gets made on the channel. And with that being said, all that left is here to say is to always be smooth, always be steady, and always be aggressive. Peace.